हमारे डेलीगेट साथियों को संबोधित करें। माननीय चेतन अहिस्मा, कन्नड़ फिल्म स्टार, बेंगलुरु।
Dignitaries on the dais, elders, friends, Jai Mool Nivasi to everyone. I'm grateful for the opportunity today to participate in Bharat Mukti Morcha's 8th National Festival Conference here in Nagpur, Maharashtra. And I want to thank Kornesha Swamiji for this opportunity. He is a socially conscious person who lives the Basava ideology, and he is a role model for all of us in Karnataka. Also, I want to thank Mr. Vaman Meshram, because the strength of an organization lies in its leadership and the ideological clarity, consistency, and ethics of the leadership. And today, if all of you on this level have joined and do so consistently, it is because Mr. Vaman Meshram has lived the values of Baba Sahib Ambedkar, Kanchiram, and many other icons of ours. When I found out that I had the opportunity to speak today, I made a list of international and national issues and various local issues. But I was confused what to say. Then I remembered a story that my father had told me when I was younger. And that story had the answer in that story. I want to narrate that story now. Once upon a time, there was a king. And this king has an idea. A thought comes to his head. It says, I am the greatest. This is very common in very rich, powerful people that they get this thought. And the king goes to the kingdom, the next day the court. And then he asks all the ministers. He says, you guys are very intelligent. Tell me what is in my head. So all the ministers say different things, and nobody's able to say it correctly. And the king is very disappointed. So he calls the prime minister and he says, you guys have disappointed me. I want you to find the most hoshiyar, the most intelligent person in our kingdom. And I want you to tell him to answer my question, what is in my head. So this prime minister goes home and is very disappointed. And he puts his hand on his head and he's sitting there crushed when his daughter comes. And she's a very intelligent woman who loves her father. And she comes to her dad and she says, Father, what did your king do now? What is the problem? And the prime minister says, see, he wants me to find someone who will tell him what's in his head. He wants me to find the most intelligent person in the kingdom. How am I supposed to do it? She says, how much time do you have? He says, I have 1 month. So then she says, is that it? Give me that time. I will find it. So then 1 month passes, and this prime minister asks his daughter, it's time now, it's been 1 month. And she says, come, I'll take you to that intelligent person. She goes to the backside, and there's a cow herd, someone who raises cows. And she says, take this man, he will answer the king's question. And she's like, and the prime minister is like, no, this doesn't make sense. He is not studied, he is not educated. How can I take him? She says, do you trust me? And he says, okay. So he takes that man. And they go before the king. And the prime minister says, King, this is the most intelligent person in the kingdom. He will answer your question. So the king looks at the cow herd. The cow herd looks at the king. The king lifts one finger like this. The cow herd looks at him, and he raises 2 fingers. Then the king says, oh, and raises 3 fingers. Then the cow herd runs away. And the king says, Besh, this is the most intelligent man. He knows exactly what is in my head. The prime minister comes up to the king and says, I don't understand, Maharaja. Tell me, what it is this? He says, that cow herd understood and you didn't understand. He should be the prime minister. I will tell you what he said. I lifted 1 finger, but I said, I am the greatest. He lifted 2 fingers because he said, there is also God with you. Then I lifted 3 fingers. And that's because I said, is there anybody else? And he ran away, so there's nobody else. And he answered my question. So the prime minister goes home, and he goes and looks for this cow herd. And he says, what happened today? And the cow herd says, Sire, you see, you took me in front of the king. I only have 3 cows. The king said, lifted 1 finger, said, give me 1 cow. I said, no, you're a great king, take 2 cows. He said, I want all 3 cows, I have to feed my family, how do I give him all 3 cows? So I ran away, sir. Now, what that story taught me was that we often see the world and society from our own experiences and our own context-sensitive understandings. So instead of talking about international issues or even pan-Indian Bahujan issues, I felt I should talk about a very imminent struggle today in Karnataka, my home state, and Maharashtra and Telangana. That is the separate Lingayat religion fight. Understand today, friends, that the separate Lingayat religion fight is an 850-year-old fight from the 12th century, led by the person whose photograph is in the front, Basavanna, who is an egalitarian icon. The essence of the 12th century movement is fourfold. Number one, annihilation of caste, the ridding of caste. Number two, the ridding of gender differences. Number three, the ridding of intermediaries, priests, and temples. And number four, ridding of Sanskrit for the local language vernacular that is Kannada. So you understand the first one, anti-caste, that is the reason why the 12th century movement, Lingayat movement, was a Bahujan movement that so many Dalits and marginalized joined. The second, the fact that gender differences, even today, when a boy or a girl child is born with Lingayats, they tie the Shivalinga, which means they are both equal and they have rights indiscriminately. Number three, intermediaries. Temples and priests must be rid of. See, there's a direct connection between the individual and the supernatural in Lingayat religion, where they do Linga Puja without any intermediaries. And the body itself is a temple. Number four, the fight against this elitist Sanskrit for a pro-people language that is vernacular, that is Kannada. You see, friends, the greatness of a religion should not be measured in quantitative terms, but in qualitative terms, which means it is not about how many followers a religion has that makes it great. It is not about how many countries it is in that makes it great. It is not about how many years it has been there that makes it great. What makes a religion great is how much equality it has, how much social justice it has, how much scientific thinking it has. And in that way, along with many other religions like Buddhism and Sikhism, Lingayatism is a model religion. And we need that for the country. You see, friends, I am born and raised for 23 years in the USA. The USA is an ocean of English and a white universe. There's racial prejudices. I've experienced police brutality, also administrative discrimination, neighbors and bullying from students and beating up assaults. And as a kid, these physical and mental racial experiences taught me to view the world in a certain way. I felt there was something wrong with me. I felt that I had done something wrong. But then I started reading great thinkers and revolutionaries, and I started thinking differently. In 1959, Martin Luther King Jr., civil rights activist, comes to India. And after he goes back to America, he says, we call it race in America. They call it caste in India. In both places, people are considered inferior, treated as if they're less. What that taught me was that I wasn't the only one experiencing. There are struggles all over the world. And that this was not my fault, but a system and a societal structural flaw that we must fix. And that also taught me that the global struggles are interconnected. So I started reading about who I was. Who am I? Where do I come from? Who are the Basavannas? Who are the 12th century revolution? What are the Vachanas? And I realized I came, just like the Bahujan Mol Nivasi movement, that you come from a movement of resistance. And I started incorporating that resistance into my fight. Now friends, today this fight, and also remember, this is not the Bahujan Mul Nivasi fight, the Lingayat fight, as well as the constitutional values are all the same. Equality, social justice, scientific temperament. So we have a responsibility to live these values and show the nation what is Desha Bhakti. That is our responsibility. And today, many people in Karnataka and elsewhere have started calling our fight anti-Hindu. They've started attacking us, threatening us. My last film, they attacked the theaters, they didn't let it release. We are not anti, those who call us anti-Hindu don't know about Lingayat religion, don't even know about Hindu religion. You see, we don't have a problem with the diversity and the tolerance of Hindu religion. But when there's a Brahminical, Sanskritic, Hindic kind of monolithic imposition that is called Hindutva, we have a problem. And that Hindutva is breaking the harmony of our nation and bringing in intolerance. And we must be intolerant of this intolerance, because this Hindutva is against the Lingayat values, it's against the Bahujan Mool Nivasi values, it's against the constitutional values. Finally, friends, remember that the 21st century Lingayats are nothing but the 12th century Bahujans and the Dalits and the untouchables. And today, if Basavanna lives on, he doesn't just live on in the Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana homes of the Lingayat-inspired Lingayats, separate Lingayat religion-inspired Lingayats, but in the homes of the Baba Sahib Ambedkar-inspired Dalit households. And friends, if we want to build a movement, we must remember what Buddha, Basava, Ambedkar, Periyar, Phule say, that unless all equality is brought in, none of us have equality. And that is the essence of their ideology. So friends, I want to say thank you for this opportunity once more. Just remember that we must all unify, and the unification process must be not just the Bahujan Mool Nivasi movement, but also must be farmers, workers, Dalits, Adivasis, minorities, women, poor, artisans, and also youth and students. And I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity once again. And before I leave, Jai Mool Nivasi, Jai Basava, Jai Bhim.
धन्यवाद माननीय चेतन अहिस्मा, जो कि